Hi, Miss Stewart. So today we're gonna just chat through the Assure model and help explain how we can make sure that students understand the rules of copyright and the basics that I went over with them in the lesson. So before we get to our rubric, let's just chat through the Assure model and make sure that we kind of know what we should be focusing on. So for reference, the Assure model stands for Analyze Learners, Standards and Objectives, Select Strategies and Resources, Utilize Resources, Require Learner Participation, and Evaluate and Revise. So these are just some good steps to make sure that students are actually retaining the knowledge that we are presenting them with and then are able to implement the instructions in their actual daily lives. So, our learners in our class are mostly ages 15 to 16 in 10th grade. Students are primarily from Texas and speak mostly English, so we don't have to worry too much about that barrier. They're interested in music and sports and TV shows right now. And so we can use this to our advantage later on when we learn how to determine what things are copyrighted, what's public domain, what's fair use. So students mostly seem to know the general idea of what copyright is, but don't really know how to implement it or how to tell if they're using it correctly or like doing the correct thing. They don't really know the difference between fair use and public domain. And so when we explained it, it seemed like they understood. So hopefully as they participate in an activity, they'll be able to demonstrate that they do understand it. Some of the students are visual learners, or most of them, with a few auditory and kinesthetic learners. Unfortunately, this lesson in and of itself does not lean too much towards the kinesthetic learners, but it is definitely possible if you wanted to have them like get up and move around, to go to different groups, to go look at different things around the room. You can totally do that. So, when focusing on the state objectives and standards, think about the technology expectations for high schoolers. So, are they using technology responsibly? Are they finding credible sources? Do they know how to find things on the internet? You make sure they're using critical thinking when using the internet as a resource. Typically, it's best to include 1 to 3 skills at a time as a well-stated objective so that students know what the goal is by the end of the day. So some examples that I provided were the student will be able to identify the difference between fair use and public domain. We talked about it in our lesson, and hopefully with the rubric design that we're going to talk about later, or I'll show you later, you'll be able to see how we can differentiate those things, or make sure the kids can. The student will also be able to determine whether a piece of copyrighted material is included in fair use. So, can they use it for what they want to use it for, even if it is copyrighted? So, select strategies and resources. Obviously, we want to look for engaging technology and resources to make sure that students are engaged and focused on what they're doing. The Copyright Office, the U.S. Copyright Office, is actually really helpful, and they have this frequently asked questions page that is really simple, and they did a really good job of breaking it down. And so I linked that for you because I feel like they actually have a good grasp on what people are asking when it comes to copyright and more information. Using hands-on activities to have students demonstrate knowledge is a good idea. So you could have students work in small groups to try and find a piece of copyrighted material, and then have them explain how they can tell. Or the other way around, you could have them find a piece of information from the public domain and then have them explain how they know is public domain and not copyrighted. Utilize your resources. This includes me. I'm your librarian. I'm here to help. I want to be a resource to you in technology and lessons. So just let me know if I can help you any more with this. You can also use Teachers Pay Teachers. They have great online resources and activities for helping to teach students about this skill. Also, watching YouTube videos and reading online articles to further your own understanding of copyright, if you need a refresher, is a good idea, just so that way you can clearly communicate the knowledge that you know with your students. You can also always send them to me for extra help. And then you research the helpful materials and all online resources that you want to use in class before actually opening them in class, just to make sure that they're what you think they are. Make sure that your students are participating in this skill. Let them collaborate and work together when they're trying to understand the basics of copyright. So you can show them, so see one, do one, teach one. Show them what it looks like to find a piece of copyrighted material and how to determine whether it's fair use. Let them do it on their own, and then have them practice showing it to each other. Let students research intellectual property that interests them. So find a book that's copyrighted or not. Find a movie that's not. Find music that is. Find when the dates begin of what is considered copyrighted and what is considered public domain, things like that. And then the last part of the Assure model, evaluate and revise. So evaluate the results of this lesson using the rubric for the proposed activity. If students do not perform the way you wanted or expected on the assessment, revisit the teaching process and adjust the lesson as needed. Edit the requirements of the assignment to make it more practical or beneficial as you see fit. So if something didn't work for your class, maybe because of the students that are in there and their interests, change it. Change it for next time. Or go back and say, hey, let's try this different. We just want them to succeed and to learn. And we try things all the time that seem like a good idea in our head for students, and then it doesn't work out that well, or maybe they're not as interested as we thought they would be. And then we just adapt. That's part of our role as educators. And adapting is in their best interest so that we can actually make sure they're learning what we need them to learn. So please just reach out. Let me know if you have any questions or you want to chat further, and I will show you the rubric in a second. Thank you.